There you are, welcome back. It's the new year, 2023, and I'm going through the studio and I'm cleaning up and I'm finding all sorts of really cool stuff. And that actually reminded me that Angus over at Maker's Muse late last year put out an episode talking about a box he found with some old projects in it. And he went through it. And it was a glorious time, and it reminded me of the boxes of old projects and stuff that I have laying around. And so while it is the new year and it's time to clean up and prepare for the epicness ahead of us, I wanted to take a moment and go through this box of old projects and show you stuff you've never seen, stuff I've never shared, and a cool project that might yet get to see the light of day. Let's dig in. Before we jump into that box, I want to talk about a couple of the things that Angus mentioned in his video, and one of the first things was maker coins. Angus was one of the first people, I believe, that used filament samples in order to make a little maker coin. He designed it to take advantage of the samples so he could keep track of the colors.
It's one of the nicer reds I've ever used for printing decorative objects like this.
And it was just a really good excuse for me to go ahead and learn Fusion 360. And at that time, when maker coins were all the rage, I put out a couple tutorials using Fusion 360 on how people could make their own.
3, hold shift, D, pa, int, da. Yeah.
It was just me wanting to learn, thanks to Angus, and it was me wanting to show others how to do it. And what's cool is around that time then, maker coins became all the rage. They're still a really cool thing, and when you go to different events, especially rep rap festivals, you're gonna find people that have amounts of maker coins, let's say, that give them out to people. And so I've come back from rep rap festivals with pockets full of random maker coins. And it's always really cool to see the designs that people make and how complex or simple they can become. I was looking around my studio. I actually had a note on my notes. I was like, maker coin, first one I want to talk about and show that specific one. And I can't find it. I know I've got one at home, so hopefully like right there will be a picture of the one that I know is at home and I can show you. And I printed this on the Form 2. The one that Angus specifically mentioned that I thought was really cool was the one that had the cross hatch pattern in it.
I'm gonna shoot this through to Joel.
And I made it really big, and I made it in a translucent material, and I actually gave it away to some kid at some event. So, hey, if you have it and you're out there, like, post it online, tag me.
I told you I would find you.
The next thing from Angus's video that I kind of want to dive into is this Easter egg torture test. And Angus made this a while back. It was a really cool model because it had 3 independent parts that spun around each other. In fact, it looked just like this. This was one of them. And I remember printing this, I believe, in a proto-pasta material. Oh, and it turns so easily. This is 250% scale on the Prusa Mark II. This is one of those prints that I really feel like is timeless. I know it's an Easter egg torture test, but still, this sort of methodology and design would be really interesting in 2023 and beyond, because we have lots of newer machines with greater capabilities, and it'd be really cool to see what a newer machine would be able to do with a model such as this. I did actually put it through a torturous test.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. 3 different colors of PLA combined to make this one. Now, I didn't print this and assemble it. This was printed in place. This was printed on a Prusa i3, the first MMU. In this year, 2023, let's get some more designs utilizing this sort of geometry where you have things nested in each other, and let's see if these new batch of fast, high-performance machines can do a good job with them. Angus also mentioned a puzzle cube, and he talked about it. It was a fantastic print that was really difficult to put together. I ended up printing it at 600% scale.
600% size.
And did my best to assemble it as fast as I could. Sadly, that model did break during a move, and so it was disposed of. But that doesn't mean I don't have something cool to show you. Ready?
Yeah.
Yay! This is the Wild Rose Builds puzzle cube, and it's 3 shapes, all the same size and all with the same geometry, and they all fit together. I'm tempting fate by doing this. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. There we go. See how they they go together like that. There we go. So it's all pieces just like this, and then this is a little stand that one of my kids painted a glorious rainbow on. To get it back together, it's almost, I knew I shouldn't have done this. This was so much fun. Obviously, I sized this one up, but I had printed multiples of these and showed them off and tried to put them together, and then I had the bases were decorated by one of my kids. I love this. If it's out there, I'll put the link down in the description, and I challenge you to print this and put it together. You know, while going through stuff, obviously you're gonna find some things that just throw you way back in time, almost back to the beginning. I don't know if you remember these, but these are all Red Bull koozies. It was a thing. So back in the day, I showed people how to use Tinkercad to take models and turn them into koozies for their Red Bull. This one, obviously, this is Barnacles right here in a bamboo filament. And it smells better than Jerry does. This is Bender Bending Rodriguez as a Red Bull koozie. This is in Protopasta stainless steel. I did try to start sanding it, and I think I might have to finish it. Don't let me forget. And then this one is in a flexible material. This is a Red Bull koozie of a low poly Darth Vader that Augustin Floalistic designed and eventually Disney pulled from the internet. And so this model doesn't exist anymore, but it exists here and it exists in my heart. So it was really interesting because it was one of those things where back in the day, I enjoyed showing people the process of learning things because I was learning and I wanted to bring people along with me. And creating Red Bull koozies was great because it meant designing things that could be 3D printed and then real world things would go in them or on them or around them. It adapted 3D printing to things that existed in the real world. And there's a lot of benefit to knowing how to do that. And for me, it all got started because I wanted a koozie for my Red Bull. Oh, man. If you've ever designed anything like this, post some pictures on social media and tag me because I'd like to see them. And if Red Bull koozies or other drink koozies are something you'd like to see me get back into, I'd love to. I know Alan Mandic really has his different can cups, I believe he calls them. He's got the 10mm socket, he's got the barrel. It's really fun doing this, and if it's something you'd like to see more, definitely let me know. And if you have a specific character in mind you'd like to see hold a Red Bull, let me know. I think it's time we grab the box, because now you're gonna see stuff that I don't think I've posted before. So this is exciting. That's a you go right here. Things up the top here. This is something I don't believe I've ever shared. So it does say 250 by 210 by 210 millimeters. This is a test piece for the Prusa i3 Mark III. So way back in the day when I got the very first Mark III 3D printer into the channel to review, what was sent to me was accidentally a benchtop machine that developers were using and not a retail packaged machine. There was a mix-up and I ended up getting this one. Joe and team ended up fixing it, and it was just interesting because there were test models on the SD card that I'd never seen before, and this was one of them. And so I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that was definitely the first time I'd ever seen it, and it was just kind of cool. I messaged Joe, I'm like, hey, what is this? He's like, you shouldn't have that model. That's an in-house test model. So there we go. I did eventually start printing things for the Prusa i3 Mark III, and what's really interesting, I never produced a proper review on the machine. I have over 25 of them at this point, and I have thousands of hours of printing on them. But for some reason, prints got put aside, saved for the review, and a review was never published. But like, there's Luby's dragon, there's this castle, there's Nefertiti right there. Check this out. Using some protopasta filaments, I had printed Dave from Printed Solid, his little pooch Jesse. Look at that. This one was really cool because I would snip the filament and it would detect that it was out, and I would stick a new filament in, and the color shifting really looked cool.
Smoking!
This was a vase that I had printed on the Mark III. A spinner. I think this is the gear bearing spinner, I think. Emmett, I think, was the person who designed that. I had a Benchy. You go right there.
Hey!
I printed one of these. Look at that. That's really cool. And so I thought, what would it look like if it took up the entire build plate of a Prusa i3 Mark III 3D printer? Well, you're in luck. Look at that. There it is. This was this. Much, much bigger. This was printed on the Prusa i3 Mark III during a review period. It's a little hairy. I don't think the filament I had was the best. It took, I believe it was 99 hours or so to print. But it's really cool. Like, no, it doesn't matter the face that you put it on. It's cool. It's really, really cool. And I'd never shown you this until now. One thing that I'd made long ago, and this was my first experience using PETG filaments. I had made this can crusher. In fact, the video, I remember that. It had this next to this, and it had a can of Stewie's World Domination drink, because it fit in that. This is one of those ones where you put the can or whatever in there, and then you stomp or press on it. It was really cool. This was my very first attempt at printing PETG. It is a little hairy. I didn't dry it properly. I mean, since then I've printed lots of PETG, but it was really fun. This was one of those things that I'm just really glad I saved it. This was one of those prints that I was just really excited about. I believe this was on the Prusa i3 Mark III as well. I think a lot of the stuff in this box was, let's be honest. And this is like an old-time Benchy, I believe it was called. The details are fantastic. I love how it looks. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, I love how this turned out, and I'm so excited. Okay, anybody out there watching this, do you remember this model right here? Do you remember its name or where it's at? Could someone find that, please?
Press the Apple thing.
Now we're getting into stuff that has never been seen. Stuff I filmed, stuff I printed, but let's start off with Hellboy here. This is Hellboy. I love this model. I love this model. This was printed on my G-Max 1.5 XT, I believe, long ago, and I have video of this where I'm like trying to get it off the build plate, and eventually I hit it and it just goes flying. I still have this model. I remember what it was printed on, and I'm really, really glad I saved it because I love it so much. Now this, this is a Slingshot. Let's see. Long ago, 3+ years ago, I set out to design my own Slingshot, a 3D printable Slingshot. And in that design process, I said, I don't want to have to use support. I want it to fit in my hand comfortably, and I want it to be able to take one of these bigger rubber bands. So I set off in Fusion 360 designing one, not knowing how to do a lot of the internal geometry. And then we went to the local pub and we filmed an intro and we filmed an outro. And I believe it was late at night, and I was trying to shoot stuff into the air like sugar packets or something, and it just didn't work. And so here's the plan. This was an amazing process that really showed how iterative design is fantastic and a great use for 3D printing, because you get to a point to test something, then you make a few changes, and then you make a few changes more, and you get to a final product. And so the goal now is to unearth all of that old footage, and I'm going to produce an episode, hopefully showing you how to make your own Slingshot, because the tutorial's filmed, it's all done. But then the only thing we're missing is the usage. And so I'm gonna put it to the test. I wanna print this model in a few different types of filaments, put it to the test, and let's find out. Let's find out if my old design 3 years later still works.
He skipped over that minute to instantly arrive at this moment in time.
This is the holy hand grenade. This was printed long ago. These pieces were printed in resin on the Prusa SL1. I don't remember the type of filament, but I do remember specifically there being just a tiny little sprig of filament left in the printer when it got done printing these.
You finished?
It's the holy hand grenade. I've yet to put it together. I haven't even taken off the supports. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's put together the holy hand grenade.
The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
And look at that. Printed years ago. Years ago I printed this and I saved it because I was like, I want to show people this cool print. Look at that. The holy hand grenade. That is so, so cool. Well, listen, should I finish this? I mean, I know what it looks like in the movie, so do you want me to paint it? Let me know. This is from the TV show Timeless. It was a time travel show, and there was this, the Mothership. This was the one that the bad guy stole. I printed this out because I remember just being super geeked about this show. I love the show. I didn't take all the supports off, and I never put it together. Oh wow, these supports are old. These are years old. I would totally print this different. Here's how it goes together if I remember right. Here we go. Shave it off. You know, the print quality, it's okay, but just, it's one of those crazy things. You look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that, and I can't believe I didn't have a good quality machine, or I didn't do the prints right, or you know what I'm talking about. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was modeled by my buddy Fernando. And then I remember when he modeled it, I believe he shared the files on Twitter. And people lost their minds. There was the Timeless fan base. And they lost their minds because they loved it so much. And I was like, I love it too. So this would go like so. Start with that. This is difficult.
You can do it!
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's almost there. Look, it's the Timeless spaceship. It's the Mothership. Oh, I made a mess. I really can't believe I've never properly showed you all this. This is, I believe it's Moon City? No, what city is this? I don't even remember, but you can print it smaller. I, of course, scaled it up. It consists of a base to keep your cookies in, or a light source. That goes on top of it, and this is just, I mean, it's kind of bare in the back, and it's a translucent filament. It fits!
This will be a day long remembered.
So initially when I printed it, I put some multicolor LEDs inside of it and turned it on. I mean, it looked really good. You know, this was going on the Raise N2 Plus. And I remember at the very bottom, I'd put a GoPro so that you could see it spiral up until it finished the print. And I can't believe I never showed you any of that. But my idea was to have little lights that go in the windows to kind of show like someone's home, and then have some cool glowy stuff in the back just to kind of make it really cool. I never accomplished that. If that's something you'd love to see, I would love to do it, because I'd love to finish this off with a nice power supply and some lights. Finally, something you've never seen and I've never shared. Long ago, one of the first really cool remote assignments I had was covering the Razor Maker project from Gillette. They're in Boston, and they were utilizing the Formlabs automation of the day to do the razor maker handles. And it was really, really cool. But I never got to show you the cool thing that happened from it, because the person that we worked with, who had been with Gillette 20, 30 years, I don't know, a long, long time, he's actually the person responsible for like the part of the Venus razor that adds the lotion, I believe, or the head on the Venus razor that makes it cut hairs easily. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time, but he did something really special for me. Check this out. JoelBot razors. I'm not even kidding. JoelBot razors. So this person took the JoelBot model, the actual STL, and then put it into software that could pose it, and then printed it out, painted it, shellacked it, whatever, and then put 2 of the Gillette razor handles on it. No, I was sent this. And this was back when this bench was in my house, and I remember opening the box and taking a look at them, and it was joyous. It was really, really cool. And I recorded it, of course, because I thought you'd want to see it, and then I never published it. Until now, this is your first look at these JoelBot razors. How cool is that? How cool is that? That's so freaking cool. You know, it's really cool walking down memory lane, because a lot of the stuff that I've printed is imbued with the memory of the time that I printed it. Like, the stuff that I print, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but the stuff that I print, when I hold it in my hands and I touch it, it's how I felt that day, where I was, what was happening. It all sort of comes back to me. It's almost like these prints that we make are little memory devices. It's the weirdest thing, but that's kind of how I feel with these things. And so, being able to clean up this studio and get ready for all the incredible stuff that we have coming in this year, I'm just really happy that I got to take a moment with you and walk back through some really fun times where I was not only learning about stuff, but I was trying to accomplish what the tenets of this channel are, to inspire and educate, and always have a really good time. And going back through these, I remembered how it was really fun, the inspiration that I had, and hopefully the people that I inspired, the education that I gained by learning how to do this, and hopefully the education that you gained by watching me and in turn doing it yourself via the tutorial. And man, it's been a lot of really fun times. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more. Fight for a cause you believe in. Print all the things. And as always, high five. 2023, baby. We're gonna do it. Oh, yeah.